Hey everyone, welcome to this Barre Fitness class. My name is Tara and I will be guiding you through this practice today. A couple of things to just think about as you move. Listen to your body. If something that I'm doing doesn't feel good for you, modify it or change it up or skip it altogether. Feel free to take breaks, hit pause, rest whenever you need, and have some water throughout. Try to keep moving if possible and have a little bit of fun. Maybe turn on some music. Let's get started. All right, you'll see that I have with me a yoga block and a small loop or a small band. Feel free to incorporate these if you have them, but if you don't have them at home, don't worry about it. So we're just gonna set those aside to start. Make your way to a standing position. Bring your feet just a little bit wider than your hips, toes point straight forward, and just find a soft little bend in the knees, nice little bounce here. Now, as you find this little bounce, focus on your core. So I want you to think about drawing in and up through the abdominals, lift a little bit taller out the top of your head. And then let's pause and keep just a slight bend in the knees. Take your shoulders, roll them up and down your back. Let's do that a few times. The feet are firmly planted. The core is still active. So always checking in with your core throughout the class. Let's bring those circles up and forward now. Maybe a little bit more movement through the arms. 2 more. And then take the arms, reach them out and up over your head, lift through the chest, look up. And as you take your arms back out wide, fold it forward. Deep bend in the knees, drop your arms, hollow your belly, roll yourself up. And we'll do that again. Reach your arms up, lift through the chest. And then take the arms wide as you fold. Bend your knees, scoop the belly in, drop your head, and roll up. We'll do that one more time. Exhale as you fold forward. And slowly roll back up. All right, let your arms relax alongside the body. And then slowly start to reach your hips down and back as the arms send forward. Push into the heels of your feet. Reach back up, straighten your legs, arms drop. Hips push forward slightly. So inhale, lower it down. Exhale, push up. Inhale down, nice and slow. I'm just warming the body up. Exhale. 2 more. We're going to continue with this movement, but we're going to pick up the pace just a little bit. So we're going to sit it down and up, down. Squeeze your glutes, especially at the top. Inhale, exhale. Reach your arms forward, keep your chest open. And try not to round through the upper back. 4 more. 3. 2. Last one. Hold it at the top. Reach both arms forward. Palms face down. You're going to bend to the right elbow. Reach it back. Little rotation. Send your arm forward, left side. So just notice as you find this movement, where is the twist happening in your body? Keep your hips forward. Keep them neutral. So that twist, that rotation, is happening through the center. So kind of around your belly button. Let's do 1 more on each side. Keep the elbows high. All right, drop your arms, shake that out. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit warmer now. We are going to move into our first little circuit. So if you have a block and you want to use it, go ahead, grab a hold. We're going to set it down just off to your right side. And we're going to take the feet nice and close, place your right foot on top of that block. From here, make sure that your foot is kind of the ball of your big toe and the heel are both firmly rooted on the block so that we don't trip or fall. So you want to make sure you have that solid foundation. Your hands can be alongside the body. You can bring them together in front of you. If you have little weights and you want to incorporate those, you can grab a hold of those as well. We're going to inhale here And then lift. If you have those weights, you can bicep curl it in. The left knee draws up high. Then we set it down. So lift it up, find that balance, squeeze the glutes. We're not trying to rush the movement. You can also keep your arms extended out in front as you lift instead of finding that bicep curl. So we're just pushing into the right foot to lift through the left side. When you set the left foot down, there is that slight shift and transfer of the weight. Find that balance at the top. Starting to wake up all the little muscles in your right ankle a little bit. Let's do 2 more on this side. And then set your right foot back down, grab your block, and just move it to the other side. All right, take your left foot, make sure it's firmly planted on your block. You can feel that little shift of the weight to make sure that there's no movement happening. Again, if you're not using a block, that's okay. It's the same kind of lift movement. Shift the weight for a second, and then lift, right? So same movement, just no elevation with the left foot. Start to push into the left foot, engage your core, lift the right knee high, maybe the arms reach forward, or you can find that little bicep curl. So you can still find these movements with the arms, even if you're not using weights. Just think about squeezing your biceps. Keep going. Try to get your right knee just a little bit higher in these last few rounds. And squeeze your glutes. You'll hear me say that quite a bit through this class. Squeeze your glutes, engage your core. Sometimes we move a lot with momentum and forget to think about what part of the body is actually creating and doing the work. So we want to make sure that we stay connected to that strength. 2 more. Last one. And set it down. Shake your legs out. Go ahead and take your block and set it aside. From here, you are going to take the feet wider. We are going to bring the hands in front. You're going to bend into the left leg. So you're shifting the weight over to that left foot. And then we're going to come back up to center. And then again. So you can stay like this. The hips kind of stick out behind you as you bend your left knee. Other option here is when you rise back up, you're pushing off that left foot and bringing the left knee out in front. So you step it out, reach the hips back, and then push, pull the left knee high. So kind of incorporating that little side lunge with our first movement of the lift of the knee high. Core and glutes are working. Lift. You can feel that push off the outside foot. We got 2 more. Last one. And then bring it back up to center. We're going to turn the toes out slightly and just lower into a little squat. Arms can be forward. They can be in front of you. We're finding a pulse here in the center. So as you pulse the hips up and down, again, draw the belly button in and up. The shoulders are relaxed. So we want to stay more upright rather than tipping forward like this. So think about the tailbone pointing down towards the floor-ish. Keep going. 6, maybe get a little bit lower. 4, 3, a little lower. 2, hold this last one. Drop it down 1 more inch. Rise back up. Keep the feet wide. Turn the toes forward. We're going to the other side. So again, hands can be wherever is most comfortable for you. We are lunging into the right side. Stick your hips back. Left foot is still planted here. And then either just stay out wide like that, just rising back up, or if you right away want to add that lift, the right leg draws in and up, challenging your balance just a little bit. Nice and slow, pull high, reach the hips back. Really focus on that reach of the hips back when you come into that side lunge. Keep the chest open, lifted, right? We're not dropping the head forward or rounding the upper back. 3 more. 2. Last one. Take it wide. Rise up to that center squat, turn your toes out slightly, and we'll pulse it down. This is your little moment to catch your breath. Get a little lower, drop it down. 7. Last 4. 3, a little lower. 2, hold at the bottom. Hold, hold, hold. 3 more seconds. 2. 1, bring it up. Walk your feet together. Shake that out. Okay, if you have a band, a loop, go ahead and grab that. Bring it up around your legs, just above your knees. We're gonna lower down onto the mat. Really firing up those glutes even more. So make sure that your hands are firmly planted, fingers are spread out nice and wide. And the wrists are underneath the shoulders. And just notice if you are kind of sticking your bum up and creating this little dip here, see if you can flatten out the back a little, creating some length, especially through the low back. And then from here, continue to push into both of your hands evenly. What tends to happen here is we kind of shift from side to side. I want you to focus on staying neutral, firmly planted through the hands, and just lift your right knee. And then we're gonna take the right knee out to the side, and then slowly start to pull it back down. Try not to let the band pull your knee back in. Find some resistance. Flex your right foot out and in. Out and in. Keep going. So as you continue this movement, notice if your hips are shifting. If you feel your hips sort of drop over to the left side, maybe you minimize your movement a little bit. Focus on that stability. Engage the core. Slow it down. Whatever it is that you need to do to eliminate that shifting of the weight towards the left side. Because what tends to happen is when you compensate by dropping the weight to the left, you're actually not lifting the right leg as high, you're not really working the glutes the same way. Yeah, 2 more. We're gonna hold this last one out and find little pulses. Pulse, 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 pulse. 4, 3, 2, 1, lower it down. Right away, we're gonna switch to the other side. If you want a small little stretch in between, you can reach your hips back, give them a wiggle, but come right back up to your table, flatten out the back. Left foot lifts, flex the foot, and out to the side. Slowly draw it in. Resist the band, try not to let it just pull the leg back down. So you're working as you lift, but also as the knee draws back in. And slow it down. Are you still pushing evenly into both hands, into all 10 fingers? And hips stay neutral. Notice if you've started to dump through the midsection, right? If you're kind of dropping through the belly, see if you can create that length again in the back. 2 more. Hold it out, tiny pulses. Whew, maybe it's burning already. Keep going. 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower down. Reach your hips back. Give yourself a nice little stretch here in child's pose. Rise back up to table, and then just make your way to a seated position. If you were using a band, just keep it where it is. If you weren't using it, that's okay. Feet are going to be planted. Make sure there's some space behind you. We will eventually lower down. There can be space between your feet, or if you prefer, you can bring your feet right together, your knees right together, especially if you're not using that band. But If you have a little loop, make sure that there's a little bit of resistance there. Also, just make sure the knees aren't dropping out to the sides or not caving in towards the center. And then just lift the chest. Your hands can be on the knees for a second. Focus on that lift through the chest. Nice, tall back body so you're not slouching back or tucking the chin forward. I want to stay open through the front body. Reach the arms out in front, or hands can always rest on the backs of your thighs. That's always an option. And just start to lean back a little bit until you find that sort of tipping point where you feel like you're going to fall back, or you have to make some sort of adjustment to hold there. If you get to that point and you notice that you're losing alignment, just come up a little. So we'll hold. Option to pick your feet up to hover. Option to lift your shins parallel. Option to stretch your legs out. So you choose your variation for today. All the while, zipping up through the lower abdominals, drop the shoulders down the back, breathe. Ten more seconds, you've got this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set your feet down if they were lifted. Just stretch your legs out in front. Maybe shake them out, round forward. And then roll yourself back up. Turn onto one side. Just take your bottom elbow and forearm down to the mat. And this is where you could slide the band off. It's not really necessary here. If you want to keep it on, just notice the difference between the two. Banded and not banded, you can. I'm going to slide mine off. And just set it aside. The bottom leg stays extended. Top foot is going to step in front. And the foot is firmly planted. I'm not rolling to the inner edge, so it might be down here for you. From here, you're on the bottom hip. You're planted into the elbow, the forearm, but there's space between the shoulder and the ear, so we're not slouched down. Flex the bottom foot, so the leg is active. And all you're going to do is take that bottom leg and lift it. And notice it doesn't have to be a big lift. Set it almost all the way down and lift. Lower and lift. And it might not feel like much the first few times through, but you should start to hopefully feel it through your inner thigh. And again, the only movement is through that bottom leg that's lifting. Try not to rock back on the hip. Check your breath. How are you doing so far? If you need to take a break, do it. If you feel like you've got just a little bit left in there, stick with me. We're almost done. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set the leg down. Go ahead and make your way over to the other side. And take a second just to make sure you get yourself set up. Find that space between the shoulder and the ear, and flex the bottom foot. Make sure you're not leaning back onto the butt cheek. You really want to make sure you're kind of on the side of the hip there. Leg is already active, and lift and lower. And you'll probably notice you can lift one side a little higher than the other. That's normal. It's usually a difference from one side of the body to the other. So just notice it. Doesn't really mean anything. So don't stress about it. Just make sure you're breathing. If you notice you start to slouch into the top shoulder, try to find that space again. If it's starting to feel like a little too much, maybe don't lift the leg as high as you were. It can just be a small little tiny lift too. And still doing the work. 4 more. 3, 2, 1. Lower it down. We are going to finish off with a plank hold. So what I want you to try and challenge yourself to do is start with a full plank, so feet step back, but you can drop your knees whenever you want to. And again, you can be on your hands or you can go down to your elbows. That is up to you. But try to challenge yourself to start with a full plank. And if you have to lower it down, you lower it down. So things to look for here. If you're on your hands, the fingers are spread wide. The wrists are under the shoulders. The arms are engaged. I like to think about pushing into the floor and kind of finding space between my shoulder blades so that I'm not doing this weird like slouch in. So think about just rounding the upper back slightly. The legs are working here as well. You can take some of the pressure away from the rest of your body, right? So fire up your quads. And then remember, if you need to drop your knees, you can drop your knees at any point. Keep the core active, keep the rest of your body really strong. If what you prefer or what you need is to come down to the forearms, hold that. And just breathe. Think about what might you be doing after this. Maybe you are starting to feel a little energized. Maybe you're doing this class first thing in the morning and now you feel ready to take on your day. 3 more breaths. 2. Last one. And lower your knees down and slide your hips back, find a child's pose. Let your arms extend in front of you, set your forehead down on your mat. Just make sure that you take a few slow, steady breaths here, bringing the heart rate back down. And when you're ready, you can come back up to a seated position. Thanks so much for joining me for this quick barre class today. Please make sure that you find some slow movements or stretches here at the end of this class so you can jump into a quick little stretch class on our channel. You can find some movements that feel good in your body, but just spend a few more minutes on your mat in your space. Stretch out whatever feels like it needs to be stretched and go on with the rest of your day. I hope that you enjoyed and we'll see you again soon. Peace.